guys, happy Monday and welcome to another edition of Marketing Monday. This is Alice here in Atlanta and I am streaming live from NAPCP headquarters. Today we have a very special topic. I kind of gave you a teaser on Thursday last week. We're going to be talking today about pitching to the media, why it's important, and some of the things I've learned over the last 10 years of doing it, and some strategies that you guys can take home, kind of utilizing this PR media toolkit that we have available as a resource on the website. If you guys are not aware of it, it's a huge resource that our team has been working on really hard over the last few years, but Deanne and Katie posted it earlier today in the Facebook community group. Go ahead and take this time to download it, have it accessible as we go through it this morning, and I'm going to be kind of highlighting some of the things that I do and just kind of reiterating why it's important to you in your business. So just to give you guys a little bit of a history and how I started incorporating it into Alice Park Photography. Really, pitching to the media was something that I started to put a little bit of effort into probably about a year, 2 or 3 into my business. We were already kind of meeting our revenue goals, and at this time I was really just trying to kind of increase the credibility behind our name and our brand and really get out there as much as I could so that I could add press content to our website. And, it was a rough start at the first couple of months, I won't lie. A lot of learning lessons and a lot of no's from the press, and really that all just resulted from not hearing back from them. But over the next few months, I really learned what worked and what didn't, and some of the content that they were looking for specifically. I talked to more people who are experts in the field, such as those who work in PR and those that are directly tied to the media, and I learned really what they were looking for and the angles that was beneficial to their viewers. So hopefully this is helpful to you guys. If you have any questions along the way, please feel to type it in on the comment section either today or live, and I'll be happy to answer questions as we go along. So just to give you guys a little bit of history, as I mentioned before, I started doing it about year 3 in our business, and reason why is I just really wanted to kind of up the number of press links that I could add to my website. Anytime a new client, or whether it be a commercial client or whether it be a new client for my photography services, I wanted them to see that I was published, and I wanted to see that the media thought I was an expert, and that it gave me a little bit more credibility. And so I wanted to really just fill up that press page, and also I really felt I wanted to be known as an expert in our community. And I found that over the years it really was not hard to do that at all. The most important thing was consistently getting content out there and seeing whether or not that content was being picked up by the press. And so also another thing that was a big goal of mine was creating content that viewers thought was insightful. And so and I quickly learned that defining who my viewers were was incredibly important. So I learned after doing it for the first few months that my audience with press is different from my audience in terms of clientele. I mentioned this last week when I sent out that little teaser on the forum. These press releases and these media outlets for me is not really to pick up new clients. That happens organically through word of mouth and through my referral channels, as I mentioned earlier. But these, the goal of that is not at all to pick up new clients. The goal is to increase credibility and to help define me better as an expert in my community. And so, but what it does do is it allows me to justifiably increase my prices, and also it leads to more followers. So, and followers, the more you engage with them, the more you're able to target your audience, that leads to clients in the end. So that was an important thing that I learned very early on. So just sitting down, kind of defining who your audience is, and tailoring the type of content that you released so that it's beneficial to them. That's something that's really important. And so how I went about doing it, and how I got started was, first what I did was I just listed all the magazines in the area, the Atlantan, Simply Buckhead, all the little local publications that may or may not be in front of my direct clientele. But just kind of making a list of all the local publications, making a list of all the little news stations, and then making a list of all the online publications that could benefit from this content as well. What I did was I started with an Excel sheet. I just kind of listed them all out, as many as I could find online, and then I surveyed who I knew. I kind of reached very, very wide in our network, whether it be clients, whether it be people I've worked within the industry, and I just kind of wrote down names that may or may not be linked to these media channels. And if there was a link, that would make things easier, of course, but if there was not, then that's when I started cold calling. So I know it's not something that we enjoy doing. It is kind of a sales strategy, but you have to make the connection with the press somehow, right? And unlike cold calling clients for potential leads, this is done through their website. So the intimidation factor is gone. And what you want to be doing is the next step is really just kind of cold calling and pitching to them content that you think would be newsworthy. And so what I did and what I continue doing today is every quarter, I will set aside time on my Marketing Mondays, to set aside time to just curating and crafting content that is newsworthy. And as you guys may have seen in this PR Media Toolkit, we kind of outlined some ideas. Things that have really worked well for me are photography tips that their viewers or their readers could find useful, whether it be, how to take better pictures at the beach, how to take better pictures using your iPhone, some great Mother's Day gift ideas, things like that. Things that the everyday viewer who are not professional photographers would find useful in taking better pictures of their families and doing something with them in the end. And so what I do is, and I find that it's easier to do seasonally, is every quarter I will start crafting together pitch ideas. I'll put them all in a list in Excel, and every quarter what I will do is I'll pitch these ideas to the producers. If it's a news station or publication that I've not worked with in the past, I find that it is as easy as just going to their website, finding a Contact Us page, and there is usually a section on submitting news tips or content, whether it be a publication or a news station, and just kind of filling out their online form. I will say it's a little rough at the beginning. You will either receive some, no, this is not really what we're looking for at this time, or just no response at all. And that's okay. The point is to keep going, and I promise eventually they will contact you back with a yes. But there are some definite strategies on making that more of a successful rate if you follow some of these rules in the toolkit that we've provided. But in the end, you want to become a regular, whether it be a columnist in a news publication or an online journal, or a regular on a television segment like Good Day Atlanta, which I've been fortunate to become. And the tip of doing that is to get to know the producers well. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. So as I mentioned, you want to pitch at least once a quarter. You don't want to overdo it. I find that once a quarter is a good regular schedule that works for us and that doesn't overwhelm them. And you want to keep your ideas and your contacts organized. Virgil Reneo came to the retreat in Charleston a few years ago, and he talked about pitching his wedding submissions to blogs and to magazines and so forth. And he had an amazing Excel sheet where every quarter or every season he has a tab of pitches and a schedule and his contacts for each. And what he does is he just checks it off every time he submits to a different publication or a different blog. And he kind of does it consistently through every publication and every contact that he has. And so he knows that the next quarter he's not resubmitting content that they didn't end up picking up. And he also keeps track and he's able to gauge the type of content that they do end up picking up. So it's a bit of a homework, but I promise it pays off dividends in the end. So also, another huge tip is to make sure that when you do get to know your producers, to treat them well, because they're going to take care of you in the future and make this process so much easier. So I'm sure you guys have seen this PR Media Toolkit. It's available on our website under the Learn category on the photographer side. And this was carefully curated and crafted for you guys. It's really simple to kind of use this as a springboard to kind of jumpstart this whole process for you. And I find that it worked really well for me. And there's lots of really good tips and a lot of really good copy that you guys can just copy and paste and start pitching to your media. So we're going to go through it briefly, and I'm going to be highlighting some things that really worked for me and some things that I don't want you guys to miss out on. The first is, it kind of goes through the topic of press releases. And what a press release is really, it's just an official statement that kind of talks about whatever newsworthy statement you'd like to get out into the press. It's simple, it's concise, and something that those in press and media can read on one page. And it gives them the opportunity to get a very succinct overview of what you're trying to say. And it also highlights your contact information very quickly so that they can contact you efficiently if they need to. And there is a formula and a format to these press releases. It's very important that you format it almost exactly the way that it's outlined on this page. Just like those little book reports that you guys do in high school and middle school, there's a reason for all of this. And it's because the media gets sometimes overwhelmed with information, and they need to be able to go through it efficiently and quickly and pick up things that interest their viewers. And they also need to be able to archive these so that even if they don't pick it up right now, they can pick it up in the future when they need some content like this. So some things that I've learned is you want to pitch these press releases to them, you know, at a certain time during the day. They like receiving these in the morning. They don't like receiving these on the weekends or late in the evenings. You want to make sure that your press release is proofread and that there are no grammatical mistakes. And you want to do this at least 3 weeks in advance. So if you are thinking of pitching something about Christmas, you want to be doing this probably before Thanksgiving, actually well before that, because these segments are also taped and these publications are printed about a month in advance. And so if you're thinking of doing something for Christmas, you want to be pitching something to them late October or early November at the very latest. And so you also want to send an introduction of who you are, send a link to your website so they can see more of your work. And then you also want to make sure that you are sending them content that is worthy of them to print or to feature. So we talked about that earlier, very, very important. But you want to kind of get into the heads of your media and try to figure out what do their viewers want to see more of. How can you tailor your content so that it is an educational opportunity for their viewers? think of it in a way of benefiting them, not you, so that in the future they are continuously coming to you for more ways and more information that you can share. So, for those of you who have won image competitions or who recently placed in our print gallery competition, you guys should have received press kits for you to use, and I just want to reiterate sending that out to as many media channels as possible. I know Jennifer Kapala, she had a lot of success with it when she won Photographer of the Year, and she did exactly what I did and I do, and she followed the outline of this PR Media Toolkit, and as a result, she started getting calls consistently afterwards in doing segments that not necessarily talked about her wins as an image competition winner, but talking about things that related to her craft of photography. So giving tips, as I said earlier, on taking better pictures, but really just kind of defining her as an expert in her community. It happened incredibly quickly. I was following Jennifer, we all were, and it kind of snowballed, and she started getting calls across the station, and it ended up being an incredibly successful campaign for her. So the key is to be consistent about it and to hit as many media channels as you can, because you really never know who and when they're going to pick it up. Another page right after the press release was kind of an example of the type of tips that you can kind of outline for those that are picking it up. Here's one that we submitted for Alice Park Photography a few years ago. Top 10 tips for taking photos of your children. Simple, very easy to list out, and whether or not they take this particular segment idea or not, it gives them so many ideas that they can spin for their users. And then, you know, it's a collaborative effort between the producers and you. You can tailor it to something that works well for what you can talk about and to what they're specifically looking for. So this just really becomes a great landing ground for everybody. Okay, so pitching. We talked about this briefly before, but some things that you can do that kind of makes this more publishable and makes you more marketable as an expert. So be personable, interesting, creative, of course. You always want to look your best. You always want to be very kind, and you always want to be a yes person. So if a producer asks you something that you may not be an expert at, or you may have no idea how to speak on, then turn it into an opportunity to learn more about it. I've done that many times, and it's worked in our advantage for sure. So reach out to local television or news outlets. Keep lists of contacts you've spoken with. We talked about that. Use a professional email account that is self-explanatory. Keep it suggestive, not commanding. You never want to say, oh, you've got to do this idea. I think your viewers will love it. You always keep it in the mindset of a collaborative partnership between you and them. And you'll see also outlined here is a sample pitch. And this kind of goes along with your press release or your idea. But you want to keep it one paragraph, very simple, something that they can read very quickly within seconds, and see if it follows through after that. Now, the difference between pitching something that is newsworthy or carefully curated for their audience versus a press release, such as an image competition, is it goes very much in line with this initial point of contact with them, so this sample pitch. So you want to outline it very carefully, make sure that it's very clear and very concise. And then I talked about seasonal pitching ideas, things that have picked up really well for me. Living here in the city of Atlanta, I went on a show once talking about hidden gem locations around the city for photographic locations. So I talked about great spots for a photography backdrop. In the springtime, of course, flowers are in bloom. I talked about gardens in the city that is worth looking into if you want to take some family photos. I talked about how to photograph with different backdrops like a skyline or being in the middle of the city. And I found that their users were really engaged for that particular segment. Mother's Day, we talked about Mother's Day marketing last week, but that is always a really good one. And there's so many ways that you can spin that one. Mother's Day gift ideas is always a huge one that, that everybody wants to talk about. Mother's Day gift ideas, how to turn your photograph into something that you can give to your mother, also tips on taking better pictures that can run through any season. So make sure you align your seasonal pitches with the season that you're in, and then if you do have the opportunity to get an interview, whether it be in person, live on television, or whether it be a magazine interview, it's incredibly important to be professional and to be personable and to develop a relationship with whoever's interviewing so that you have the opportunity to do it again in the future. So there's some interview ground rules that are outlined in this PR Media Toolkit. I know that you guys can read it. It's very simple and straightforward. But one thing that I wanted to highlight was the media mindset. You really, really want to be thinking in terms of what the media wants to cover. And it may not be something that you want to talk about or that you necessarily feel you're an expert in, but it, in the end of the day, has to benefit their viewers. And so always thinking in terms of what they're looking for is incredibly important. And then also offering a unique angle to it every time you pitch. One thing that I find is incredibly important also is if you do have the opportunity to get to know a producer or get to know an interviewer, you want to constantly nurture those relationships. It's just like a good relationship that you find in terms of a source of referral or a client that ends up being your golden client who refers over and over and over to you. You want to nurture those relationships to no end. And the way that we do it is after every interview that we do or every segment or every photo shoot, what I always do is write them a handwritten letter to say thank you. Sometimes if I'm coming on set and I'm meeting the entire team, I'll bring donuts or something that everyone can enjoy on the set. And I make sure that they all get to know me personally and know that I'm a human being and that I enjoy being here and that I enjoy their friendships and relationships. It's beyond work, and it becomes personal at that point. And so at the end of the day, if they're looking for someone to talk about crafting a Mother's Day gift idea, I may not be an expert in that, but I'm the first person they think of because they remember me, and that's the most important part. And so I'm the first person they call when they do that. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. It is just like doing a homework assignment for school. I kind of treat it that way. I set aside time every quarter to make sure that I've got all my ducks in a row and I'm checking off those boxes, and then all of my topics are out there and all of my pitch ideas are out there. But I make sure that I'm moving it forward. And so instead of them waiting for them to contact me, I'm pitching ideas so that they have got good content in the bag, and when they're ready to feature it, they know who to call. So Lisa and Elizabeth did a fabulous job last week talking about social media ideas and goals, and so I'm not going to be reiterating the things that they do, but I will say that it all really works hand in hand. Social media, blogging, pitching, and getting good newsworthy content out there. Okay, so I saw a couple questions come in. Let's see. Hi, Willie, you made it. Okay, Tina asks, in terms of contacting press in relation to competition wins, do you still recommend pitching particular ideas for viewers at the same time? No, I don't. If you are talking specifically about your press win, I recommend just submitting that idea alone. You can submit different ideas in different emails. That is no problem at all. But I want to reiterate keeping it concise, keeping it clear, and keeping it on point, so that whoever's reading through this is not having to juggle different ideas at the same time. So keeping it separate is definitely the key to that. But for competition wins, you guys definitely need to be putting that out there. I mean, I know for newspapers and journalists specifically, they're always looking for individuals in their local area to highlight for competition wins like this, especially for an international image competition. It's huge. And if you're thinking in terms of a local newspaper or an online publication, just to be able to say, local photographer wins international image competition and features a beautiful image of your win, it's a no-brainer, really. So make sure for those of you who are entering our image competitions and who are winning to really get those press kits and releases out there. So I think that's it for us. If there are not any more questions, I am going to be heading out. But if you guys do have any questions throughout the day, please feel free to write them in the comment section. That is it for today. And we are going to be taking a little break. Is it next week? No. Actually, the week after that. Katie Rain is going to be hosting our live Marketing Monday next week, which we're really excited about. She runs a very successful studio from a few different locations, and she's going to be talking specifically on travel sessions, what she does to prepare for them, how they work really well for her, and how she markets them. So be sure to tune in for Katie next week. We'll be taking a short break after that to celebrate Memorial Day weekend, and then we'll be jumping right back into it in June. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday, and good luck with your marketing. I'll talk to you guys soon.